SEEDance 2.0. Everyone's on alert. They are remixing videos, movies, adding in characters. I think everything looks real and very
Yeah.
surreal. But the Ready Player One scenario, by the time you drive in, the car is gonna be flying. No, I wish Google would bring back Stadia. What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome back to another episode of Autonomous Income. I'm your co-host, Deuce Noble.
And I'm your co-host, DJ. Man, what's going on today, Deuce?
Hey man, as always, we're back at it with another word into this AI venture and how we can change and shape the world for our small business and entrepreneurs out there. Yeah, man, a couple of things we got to talk about today. A few things that's been pretty interesting floating around. A lot of rumors and a lot of real big hype. So first up, of course, is SEEDance 2.0. I will
Yeah.
talk about that, unpack that. Also, Gemini 3.1 Pro. We're going to try to unpack that and then maybe talk about a little bit of Lyria 3 and a few other things. What else you got for us, DJ?
Man, there's a few updates that came out. Microsoft and what that, kind of implies for their future of their gaming and AI. Definitely want to cover that. A few updates with Google and the notebook LM. Some of the updates on there. We might have some quick hits every now and then, but yeah, those are definitely some of the things that we want to go over, kind of talk to everybody about, and especially AI agents. We've been talking about it last year, but Deuce says, this year is the year of the AI agent, and it's really coming in all kind of forms and fashion. So I do want to cover that just to make sure, the people can kind of check that out. Definitely incorporate it into your business if you haven't already. Our entrepreneurs, this is definitely something that you want to jump on sooner, make life a lot easier for a lot of us. So where you want to start, Deuce?
Let's go ahead and tackle the big beast in the room. Let's talk about SEEDance 2.0. We've been feeling this knowledge about the movies and video making for a long time. However, when I tell you they have taken it up a notch, and if you haven't heard by now, if you don't know, now you know. All right, SEEDance,
Yeah.
SEEDance has been out here taking Hollywood by storm. Everyone's on alert. They are remixing videos, movies, adding in characters, giving us the ultimate fight scenes we have been dying for in certain movies. But honestly, DJ, I think it's really cool. It's really cool to see how you put together property and the video work just comes together like magic. Everything looks real and very
Yeah.
surreal. Kingsfield AI is getting a run for its money, and a few others that have been hit. China is really stepping up their game and how they're bringing different things to the bet or to the platform. So, what do you think? Have you
Man, if
used
this
it
is how
yet?
Seedance looks, I can't wait for Google VO4. I can't wait
I
for,
know.
then there's gonna be Sora 3, right? I mean, it's just like that's the new bar. Everybody's, then there's Clean, that Clean 3, I think, was looking really
So
good as
we
well. So
we've
yeah.
always talked about how like the bar has continuously get
Yeah.
reset. But we were talking about generic agentic AI and or just prompt AI. Now we're getting into the imagery in the videos is crazy. I mean, I definitely was talking about a full motion Hollywood picture by the end of
You did.
2025.
Yeah.
However, they are very much here. I mean, the way these films look and feel, I mean, are you going to be able to tell?
No, man. I think a lot of things are cooked. That's my question. So here's my hot take question, DJ's hot take question. So the barrier between like these massive studios, right? That have big budgets and all this other stuff. What is your, take on that, Deuce? Like, do you think like are they gonna be able to find a way to like use these tools, and like kind of still
I think they have
leverage
to.
it
I
and
mean,
work their way in, or do you think like it's just like the big budget studios and all that is just kind of like not really how will they transform is really what I'm curious about because I don't really see them being displaced, but like what does it look like going forward? Like how do they kind of
well,
work with this new
I would
tech
say
stack?
this. I would think small first, right? Because yes, these big corporations and firms, it may not seem much for them to do. But if you think about if they want to get or cut out some of their budget and be able to do things a little bit quicker, if you think about like how they are doing CGI and some of that
Yeah.
work that goes into that, man, they could cut out a whole department technically. I mean, I'm just saying, like, if you, okay, think about, remember back when Matrix came out and how those graphics was crazy, right?
Yeah.
Could you imagine those producers back then making Matrix the Matrix with the technology of today.
Yeah.
Granted, it in parts, because if you go back and look at the Matrix, one, two, or three, mostly two and three, like Neo flying through the air and stuff, you could tell that's very, very CGI animated in a sense, right? But some of these animations and video creation is so surreal that
Yeah. It's
I'll
been
put it to you
crazy,
this way.
man.
I'll put it to you this way. Let's say you are a new videographer, producer, same way as when what's old boy that did Black Panther? What's
Ryan
my guy
Coogler?
named Ryan Coogler, right?
Yeah.
When he first picked up a camera, he didn't have much money, didn't have much, to do. But if he had this technology and a couple of dollars
Yeah,
in his
that's what I'm
bank,
saying. Like a lot of the creators that didn't
man,
have the money now, man. And so maybe it's better for the industry because that's a great point. So you have all these Ryan Coogers potentially out there. And he's a I don't want to just say everybody's gonna be as talented as some people. Like talent should still deserve like it's like he's a very talented individual. But
absolutely.
like say like now
Talent,
it just opens it up to a lot of the creators that probably just didn't either, they can afford it or whatever the case is, they didn't have access and it just makes it a lot more accessible. And but are we now going to just be flooded with so much content that's because then there's always like people say, oh, it's AI slop, and then there's this. But like now, if the quality gets a lot of better and it's not slop, and people put thought behind it and they
of course.
work with the AI, right, to really make it crisp. Like, what if we get a lot of high quality content? I mean, I think for us as end
We're
users,
gonna
that'd be
have
cool.
content
But I'm
out
already
the
behind on all these shows I need to watch.
things are coming out so quick. It's like, man, how do we
Man,
even
so
keep up? But the thing is
that's what I'm
this, like,
saying.
that's a good point because look, I think I just saw Snoop Dogg even recorded his or did his first or created the first music video with SEEDance for one. I don't know if it was SEEDance or another one, but you see what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, Snoop Dogg's up. Yeah, he's up on a lot of this, man.
there's a
Like him
lot
and
of
his
people
team.
using
Yeah,
this technology, and I think we're going to get into a scenario where let's just call it the Ready Player One scenario where everything is going to be a streamable
yeah,
type of event or content where it's just like, how can I consume it? And it's just going to be out there for everyone to consume. But so much you're going to lose some human dexterity as far as being in the real world versus all this stuff gets created. You remember
yeah,
what was it, the metaverse? They were talking about all this stuff when people were
yeah.
selling plots of land in the metaverse. I remember Snoop said people were selling virtual
Yeah,
plots of
selling like
land just
virtual real estate
next
in
to
there.
Snoop in
Yeah,
the
I do
metaverse.
remember that.
So I
I do
mean
remember
that
that.
that didn't last long, but however, this technology, the way it's becoming circular, if something's going to stick in, it's going to be a lot out there.
Man, I think, well, I mean, I know Hollywood, just to kind of to bring it back into the fold, like what we're talking about is Hollywood, like you were saying, Deuce, they're up in uproar, but also there was a lot of cease and desist. So I think Disney and a lot of other people, because at first, like a lot of these models, typically their restrictions are pretty well off. Usually they kind of dwindle them down afterwards. Like you remember when you and I were first on Sword, Deuce, like, man, we had videos with all kind of, different characters
Everything's
or whatever you see.
SpongeBob was up there.
SpongeBob was up there. People were putting like, the turtles and all kind of IP was all Mario and all this other stuff. And then like it went down. But that created that hype. And the same thing with Sea Dances. You see, like I think I saw some really good lightsaber and all kind of, I think there was Wolverine versus the Hulk. And, so
Yes,
like you see all these like IP just all around there and that creates this hype cycle. But of course, you see the big studios like, no, you can't do that. And I just wonder how all of that's going to meld together and how they can work together to create something to give people a tool to do that. Thor 2 was the first thing that I'm looking forward to when they really get this partnership with was it who would they partner with? Was it Disney that they partner with that
I
you'll
think it
be able
was
to
Disney.
use?
Yeah.
Yeah. So once that unfolds, maybe that's how these other companies are going to be able to work with that so they can leverage these companies' IP and then make it cool for creators to kind of create content still within safe guardrails and all those things, essentially for our YouTubers, our media brand companies and everything like that. Right now is the time to get in, use these tools. I mean, if you have podcasts such as this, if you have podcasts of your own, if you're YouTube content, B-roll and just like professional grade B-roll and just, new content that you can talk through, these tools are definitely available for you to check out. So CDance 2.0, Clean 3, 3.0. And you can do Sora 2 content as well, depending on what you're in on the lookout. What we're gonna be watching for is Google VO4. But definitely guys, you can it's gonna open it up to our creative audience to be able to,
Yeah,
definitely delve
I mean,
into
I
that
think if
and
you're
really
a
expand.
creator out there in
Yeah.
any way, shape, or form, these are, as always, tools to use for your advantage. They are great, great tools to take advantage of and, you know, put your stuff out there.
Yeah.
Whether you're using it for a 2-second clip or you're trying to make something even longer, fill in the holes that you need and take advantage of it. We will link, those tools below, so make sure you guys can check them out and test them out for yourself. But yeah, I think I think it's only up from here, DJ. Like this, look, we've been talking about it. All right, what are we at next?
Yeah, so I wanted to do a quick hit on Tesla real quick because they just they pushed out a software update to Cybertruck owner. So I think it's 26.2.3. So if you're a Cybertruck owner and you have that, so Grok becomes like a co-pilot in the truck. So this is something that, it's kind of fresh and it's kind of like what you would envision. So a while ago they introduced Grok and you could talk to it and ask it questions. It's just like one of the voice LLMs. But now you can essentially say, hey, help me find the best rated restaurant in the 5 mile radius of where I'm at or something like that, and it'll navigate it to you. I'm just using that example, but basically now it's really like intuitive to where like you can really talk to it like such as a co-pilot. They basically let Grok's integration before it was kind of disassociated with the navigation, and now it's kind of pulled together. So I want to see like what the feedback is from a lot of the drivers because of course it'll probably start with the truck, but definitely sure to get to the Model Ys and the Model 3s and all of those other things. Not sure if it's going to come to the X and S because, as you recently heard, they're going to stop making those models. So I'm not sure if they're going to. I mean, they may still enable the software and all this other stuff.
Wait,
Like
they stopped
so,
making the X? I missed that
yeah,
one.
the X and the S, or yeah. And I had the X for a while, man. That was a
I
nice
know. I
vehicle, but
like the
yeah,
X. I'm
yeah,
like that
man.
one,
So
but that was the big body.
that was the 6-seater, 7-seater model.
Interesting.
And yeah, so they're cutting back so they
I
can
missed
scale on
that.
autonomy. Yeah, yeah. So I think as of March, if I'm not mistaken, and comment section, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's when they're gonna stop making those in the production line. So, but
Rest in peace.
I think still with their software and everything like that, that you'll still get the updates, I believe. But either way, they rolled it out to the Cybertruck. So what's your thoughts on that? Like, how do you, I know you have mixed feelings about this, and that's why I bring it up all the time because like, vehicles driving you and everything like that. I love, like, it does take a lot off the cognitive load or whatever, just having the vehicle drive, you still pay attention, it is still supervised. But what's kind of your take on that?
I mean, it is, but it's tough for me to just really like have a valid opinion just because, I mean, yes, I know it exists and I've been in one, but that experience I'm not comfortable with just yet, right? And I think a lot of people might share that same sentiment. Some, are probably super against it, but my thing is this, it'll never become the norm while it's still not, or I'll never get used to it while it's still not commonplace for everyone. You know what I'm saying? If it
Yeah.
starts to become more of a, all right, gradually, this is how things are. I think I might be okay with it, but I'm just like, man, hell nah, heck nah. I'm just
It
like,
takes
yeah,
away it takes away for you to get used to it, man. Like so, I say since in the since
it seems cool.
2017, they've like when I've been around the whole full self driving or the even the enhanced autopilot or whatever the case. Like since then, this is pre-pandemic and all that. I mean, it's like when at first it was driving like somebody with a learner's permit, right? Like really timid, really like, and then it just like every iteration or whatever, like it just gets more mature. And now, man, I think I have almost like 2,000 miles or something like that since they started tracking how many miles that you do. And 96% of that is all just, the car drives itself. A lot of miles
Crazy.
since they started tracking that with whatever
You,
update that was. No, I mean, like it really, I mean, now granted, it's not 100%. You see 96% out of that. So
yeah,
there is like some situations specifically like certain parking lots, and that's newer to them being able to park and all that other stuff. But sometimes you park a lot faster, or just like weird situations on the road. Sometimes you feel like you can just take over a little bit faster than having to try to think through what's going on. But for the most part, so yeah, it's no like I'm falling asleep or it's nothing like
yeah.
that.
I, I,
But
I
it's
will
like, but
say this.
yeah,
I think that the autonomous driving is so very well designed that it will be the norm for driving in
yeah.
a near future. I don't know if very near, but and I mean we can go back
I'm pretty
to
sure for our little ones, Deuce, like our little ones probably won't have to drive. It'll be like when our parents said they wanted us to learn how to do stick shift. Like, what if your friend has a
look,
stick
nah.
shift? You know,
I
you know what I
remember
mean?
growing
Like,
up and they were like, by the time you driving, the car's gonna be flying.
why? Yeah,
Yeah, I
that's true. That is true. Yeah. Well, that ain't happened. That didn't happen, but
But the
I
thing
do.
is, it's like we weren't even close to that then. You know what I'm saying? Like, it sounded good, but like the fact of the matter is now, like autonomous driving is here, and
Yeah.
now when
There's
our
already
kids get to
Waymo, there's
drive,
already the robo taxi in certain
how
places.
much
Yeah.
more common will it be, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, look at iRobot, right? Go back to that. It was crazy to think you was self-driving at that point.
Yeah,
So
man.
the tables
Well, I
will
mean, one
turn,
thing
I
to think
think.
about too is just like how Apple and Google kind of feel about like I've wondered if they would have ever done an electric car. And I know Apple shelved theirs. I don't know if Google's doing one or whatever, but if you have these Teslas that, have the autonomy and then now they're building out more robust things with XAI, like with Grok and everything into those cars, that's another place where, they could be with their own solutions. And it doesn't seem like so as of yet. Tesla hasn't announced any Apple CarPlay or Android Auto in their vehicle, so that's another kind of place. So it's just interesting as they're collecting more data and they have that availability through their huge fleet of vehicles that's out on the road. So just stuff to think on. Yep, yep.
Right. No, I think, listen, I think it's gonna be right.
No, man, I think that would be good. Moving on to the next topic. So, just wanted to touch on real quick the gaming industry. So, as you know, Phil Spencer announced that he's retiring, and I think their head of Xbox Gaming is
Yeah,
also retiring as well. She's going to no longer be with the company and whatnot. So, but it's just interesting is that Asha Sharma is going to be the new Phil Spencer. They're going to step into that role. So his successor was supposed to be, I believe, the head of Xbox. Regardless of the fact, Asha Sharma is going to be the new EVP and CEO of Microsoft Gaming, and that individual is over the majority of like the AI, AI platform things
AI
that Microsoft has
platforms.
going on. Yeah, yeah. So
So,
they're head of the core AI products. Question to you, question to the audience and everybody is just like, what does that actually mean? Like, if we speculate a little bit of that, I mean, of course, AI
yeah,
is, coming more into the fold, but AI and gaming, we always talk about that here on the channel, as this tech kind of grows. Like now, I mean, like you putting that
all I'm gonna
person in that
say,
position, what does that mean for the Xbox platform?
all I'm gonna say is three words: Ready Player One. Look, no, look, this is my 2 cents on it. Deuce's 2 cents. And I keep saying that. Like, one of my favorite movies, Ready Player One, very nerd centric movie. However, if you look at the actual movie and book, the gaming aspect, the headgear and AI and virtual reality and augmented reality all tie into one, we have the technology today to do something very similar to what that movie was, right? And even with all the haptics, and if you think about what the next gaming system or platform may be versus what we do have today, right? The next PlayStation, next Xbox is going to include some type of AI something, right? And I think it'll be really cool to see what that looks like going forward, whether it's a full headset, are we changing how we are interacting? I think gradually over time it'll change. But ultimately it'll be a lot of games are going to be completely AI generated
Like
content.
procedural generated or just like,
Yeah,
yeah,
but also it could probably, if it's an open world type of map, it'll probably constantly change. It's almost like those, yeah, but it'll be interesting to see how it does on a whole platform, right? I'm excited about what that could look like. No, I wish Google would bring back Stadia. Google, if
man.
you hear it, bring back Stadia, please,
Mass
because y'all are
Stadium,
ahead of the
man.
time and y'all can be right back on top.
They could be. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of the tools that they have. I mean, and they're in a great place, man. If they would have held out a little bit longer, like I could have seen
I'm
Gemini,
saying though.
Gemini. Now, but this is what I think Microsoft will do is like you're going to see some kind of Xbox Copilot, right? For
Yes.
features. So there's two sides to this coin, right? Like, so you have the consumer side, right? About like maybe having a companion with you in certain games and handle your loot or whatever the case is, right? But as a platform, you also for game development. Now, dudes, remember AAA titles and games used to take years, a lot of massive money. Now, if you give developers these tools or a common platform that they can create these assets in the game, for a lot cheaper, or you see the big success of Roblox, like basically if maybe Microsoft can create their own Roblox or Sony. And like I know a lot of these companies are starting to think of that from a platform perspective as how can they make developers or end users create their own world because Roblox has been a massive success because people are building their own things and it's always a live, situation. For better articulation, basically, it's like every time the meta shifts, like there's a Call of Duty Roblox game or whatever the case is,
Yeah.
like NBA this, because the people are always creating that content on the platform. So now these other platforms, they want to get into that as well, man.
I think it'd be very interesting because I mean, what was kind of cool, let's say, and we're kind of going back to a little bit of the Seed Dance stuff. We got to see some really cool mashups, like people building out their own GTA 6, right, with Seed Dance, right? But I think gaming will be that kind of, it'll tread into that kind of territory where you're getting the mashups that you want as a gamer, and as a developer of those games, they can mash up whatever they want as far as games, and it'll be interesting to see that world. Like I said, don't sleep on my Ready Player One theory,
Man,
because
that'd be cool. I'll definitely jump into the Oasis, man.
the more I think about that whole system, the more it's like this could be done, especially the way we're going with how AI is taking over as far as mashups. Like the videos and stuff on C Dance is really just kind of art imitating reality, in my opinion, right? What's to come. So I think that even with the gaming and what Microsoft is going to do is they have a lot of rights to a lot of things, and they could do something incredible. And yeah, I'm interested to see and find out.
Yeah. And all in all, just when we talk about this, like for our entrepreneurs out there, if you're kind of in the gaming sector, if you're a smaller studio, you can actually, look into now building these tools and building these, parts to it, and
Or
you
not
could
even in
potentially
your
compete with
studio.
these massive studios. You know what I mean? Like, or like a lot of indie developers. Like now's the time. I mean, if you have this whole agentic platform, you can spin something up. So like you have, I'm not going to say it levels the playing field, but now it definitely gives some of the smaller studios a chance to like really create something really cool. And then like for our, your big, like for Microsoft in general, just to kind of circle back to that, I'm gonna be super interested to see how they take this new approach on both the consumer facing side and what tools that they do for that, and then also from a developer, like what they build as from a platform and like the strategic direction they're going in. Person like Phil Spencer, I thought he was really good. So hopefully, all the best. I know he's retiring and all those things. He's been there for quite a while. Well
Quite a
deserved.
while.
Maybe he can just relax and play games now. We'll see how Microsoft shakes up on that. What we got next, Deuce?
Hey man, look, it's one of those things, like I said, it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, so next up, I kind of want to just touch base real quick on Gemini Lyria 3 and how cool that project is. Granted, Lyria 3 is a music creator or
Yeah.
system or AI that builds out music and different tunes. But of course, what it's only 30 seconds, not a full song. But as a content creator or entrepreneur or just someone looking to explore the world of music, this is a great tool to use amongst other ones. DJ, I think there's a couple that you had mentioned previously to me as well. But keeping it in the family with Google, Gemini Lyria 3 is out and it is pretty sweet. Check it out.
Yeah, man. So I think it generates 30-second tracks pretty much instantly, like they're very quick turnaround times. And so you don't have to have like a music background. And Suno AI, of course, that's a big one that everybody has heard about it and all those other things. And there's like apps on the phone. That one's like, full production ready. Well, I mean, there's still, you can pull the stems and everything like that. But a lot of people use Suno. They've heard about that one. I don't know if Lyria is trying to be in that same vein, but also what I saw demoed with Google Lyria 3 is that you can upload an image and then the image will create audio for that image. So like it'll create like a little scene or do something like that as well, which is actually pretty cool. So dude's definitely getting more into, like you're saying, just like really building out these unique kind of scenes or things, just with images, just, a lot of creativity you're gonna see. And I really like that. And I'm interested to see what, some content creators kind of do with the feature set with Lyria 3 and everything like that. And I played around with it a little bit. It's actually pretty cool, pretty responsive. I don't know, like Suno AI is really good at audio. And there's another one. There's Suno and
And there is another one. It's
I can't think of the
called
name of it off.
It is called Marika. That is one as well that offers music
Udio.
text to
There
speech.
it is. Yeah,
What's
Marika
up?
also, but Udio, UDIO. Udio is the other one I was thinking about was a major ones that was out there. But yeah, I've heard of Marika also. But
But
yeah,
yes,
man.
I think,
So
if you're a
yeah.
creator, I would say this, there's no limit to what you can create, especially with all these tools coming out. If you can think it, you can create it, and there's a tool out there for you. You remember those back in the day? when iPhone first dropped, and they were like, "Oh, yep, there's an app for that. There's an app for
Yeah,
everything. You can
yeah.
go." Now we're at a point. There's an AI for that. Okay, coin that. Anything you can think of, or you think to do, or a task, I
Or there's an
promise you, there is
agent.
an
Yeah, there's an
AI
agent for
or
that.
agent
Yeah,
for
yeah,
that, right?
yeah.
And then here's the thing: the difference between all of these is some of these have a specific model that was trained specifically for that certain task. Like, granted, we can say Gemini, ChatGPT, Claude, Grok. Those are kind of the all-knowing AI platforms and LLMs. However, when you get into more topic-specific ones, especially when we're talking about like
Yeah, you have
video
specialist
generation,
models, the ones that are trained, yeah, because you have your
yeah, like
massive
they're trained
models, yeah, then you
specifically
have
for
one,
these
yeah.
things, right? On a score of data that has tons and tons of data specifically for that type of thing. So if you can thank it, I promise you there's AI for it.
Yeah, man. That's it's just, pretty cool. And all in all, I mean, like what this means for entrepreneurs and just people, small businesses, media free music. I mean, that should be a thing in the past. Like I know that, people get YouTube strikes and all this kind of thing, but if you need music for your channel now's the best time because you can literally just generate it. YouTube is like integrated, I think, a lot of that into its platform. And I'm sure with Lyria 3, I know it did with VO, but they're going to integrate more into the platform for where you can just generate music and certain things. You can probably prompt it for the kind of style that you want. Will it sound like Swiss Beats or Timbaland or some something like that? Maybe not, right? I mean, but like they're getting pretty good. Suno AI, keep referencing that one, but like if you go look at that one, you play around with Lyria, play around with all of them, but find the one that you have the preference with. And each of them, they have their own strong suits and everything like that. But what I like about Lyria is just like putting an image in there and it just kind of creates the audio based off what it thinks is going on. Is like that's a pretty cool thing, and you can kind of prompt with it as well. So definitely
Granted,
check that out
there's plenty out there. Test them out, see which one works the best for you. Like I said, there's Suno, there is Marika, there is Lyria 3, and what was the other one? UDO, right? So there's a bunch out there. So
for sure.
anyway,
So, and the vein of Google also, as we were talking about before, real quick, Notebook LM. Okay, calling
Notebook
everything Google, but
LM.
no Notebook LM. They released some updates recently as well. If you haven't used Notebook LM, it is a very, very powerful tool for like research and just basically you can pull in your facts and your sources and everything like that. So definitely are either entrepreneurs that need to build out decks about a brand, or if you're in education and you need to build out stuff for students and all those things, a bunch of tremendous amount of use cases. But essentially, you can upload all your sources and it creates slides. It can create infographics and other details around your specific information. And the slides aren't basic; they're really good because like it thinks through a lot of that. Now, some of the features that it has is where you can prompt. Before it would create these PDF files and that was it. You'd have to capture them and maybe go to another AI tool to try to, edit them and do some other things. But now directly in LM Studio, you can go to each one of the items and you can actually edit it. You can prompt it. So if it comes up with a slide and it has something that's a little bit off base or a fact that's not quite how you want to kind of articulate it, then you can prompt it and change that. And you can go through each one of the slides that it creates, prompt it, and then you generate new slides and then it'll make those edits for you. Also, I believe now they introduced where you can save it as a PowerPoint. Before it was just a PDF. And then
Yeah,
coming
yeah.
soon, as Deuce was telling me about coming soon, he mentioned you'll be able to open up in Google Slides, that I don't know why that wasn't ahead on the priority list, but I'm sure they
I
have,
don't know
all
why,
the data that
but
they need to kind of say what their priority list is. I'm sure there's a rhyme and reason, but when that hits, that's going to be amazing as well.
yeah, no, I think I use a Notebook LM a lot,
Yep.
and I think those new features coming out are very, very great. Very cool tool. If you're in school right now, whether you're studying for whatever, please take advantage. I promise it'll make your life 10 times easier, if not more. And I think that even if you're not in school, if you got projects you're working on, man, Notebook LM is your friend. If for those who have ever used Microsoft OneNote, this is Microsoft OneNote on steroids, and I mean jacked up. Okay, so
Yeah.
this is a great tool to use for all of those out there who need something that is really putting things together. If you are, like you said, in academia, I have a few friends who are in academia. I need to make sure they are taking advantage of what Notebook LM offers as well.
If you're pitching for startups, I mean, also our startup entrepreneurs, man, or if you're running an AI automation automation agencies, managing media brands, of course. Like this really takes out, as Deuce will tell you, like these are some of the better slides that I've seen that kind of creates because it really thinks through what those issues are and it, really depicts them well. I can't wait till you can open them in Google Slides and kind of do some finishing touches on some of the things if you need to. But definitely check it out, see what it comes with. Pretty sure you'll be surprised. You can also create reports. They keep adding on to Google LM. And I believe that when you have the Google One AI, this, we were talking about it before, they have so many ways that you can get their AI subscriptions.
Yeah,
But if you have the AI Plus and the Ultra, like you get some more advanced features in LM or more usage
yeah.
or whatever the case is. But yeah, definitely check it out. It's worth it. And if you're already paying for the Pro, like that $20 a month plan, I would definitely check it out and leverage that in your business.
I mean, for those listening, these are all tools that we will link below, but check them out. I promise they will work for your benefit in some way, shape, or form.
Yep.
And I think that if you guys check it out, always subscribe and share it with somebody. And then leave a comment, let us know what your thoughts are. And, we're always here trying to help you guys create a more autonomous world for yourself. As always, like, comment, subscribe, and share, and we'll catch y'all on the next one.
Peace.